What if I told you, however, that when women begin acting weirdly around you, it's truly attraction, shrewdly cloaked as confusion? Ever had a woman seem genuinely interested one moment, only for her to vanish without explanation the next? Or maybe you've heard through the grapevine that she always brings up your name, even though she claims you're just a friend. Sound familiar? You're not imagining things. And no, you're not losing your grip on reality. What you're witnessing is a subtle psychological dance, and you're the hidden rhythm behind every step. You see, when it comes to Sigma males, women react differently. Why? Because you're not playing their game, you the game. While other men jump through hoops, desperate for validation, you remain composed. You don't perform, you exist. You don't chase, you withdraw. And paradoxically, that silence becomes the loudest thing in the room. It's not arrogance, it's presence. This is where kicks in a concept from behavioral psychology. It's the brain's natural resistance to feeling controlled. When a woman senses that your attention isn't something she can command, her subconscious flips a switch. Suddenly, your mystery becomes a challenge, and her interest is amplified by the uncertainty you represent. You're the unopened message, the locked door, the storm she can't forecast. And that makes you irresistible. Being a Sigma male means you project quiet confidence, autonomy, and emotional discipline. Women pick up on this energy and respond in odd, even contradictory ways. They might flirt and flee, gossip about you obsessively, or deny attraction while keeping you on their mental radar. The unpredictability isn't a bug in the system, it's proof you've disrupted the usual pattern. So what happens when women detect your Sigma presence? Their reactions won't always be obvious or romantic. They might be erratic, intense, or flat-out bizarre. But they all lead to one truth. You're not just in the room, you're under their skin. Stick around, because we're about to decode 5 of the strangest behaviors women display when they sense they're dealing with a Sigma. And after this, you'll never confuse mixed signals with disinterest again. Number 1, she stares a lot, but looks away when you notice. You know that moment. You catch her staring. Deep, intense, like she's trying to solve a riddle written in your eyes, but the second you lock gaze with her, boom, she looks away. It might seem like a flicker of shyness, but it's much more than that. What you just witnessed was not hesitation, it was fascination. That quick glance away is her brain hitting the panic button because she just encountered something rare. A man who doesn't chase, doesn't try too hard, and doesn't need validation. In other words, a Sigma male. In the world of evolutionary psychology, women are biologically inclined to scan, assess, and evaluate potential mates. It's a subconscious process tied to survival and selection, but when a Sigma walks in, a man who's calm, mysterious, and detached from the usual social dynamics, he doesn't fit any of the predictable categories. He's not the flashy alpha, not the quiet beta, and certainly not the overly agreeable nice guy. He stands apart. And that difference throws the usual radar off course. So she stares captivated, trying to figure out who or what you really are. This moment of eye contact becomes a psychological puzzle. You didn't flinch, you didn't beam a cheesy smile, and you definitely didn't get flustered. That cool, unreadable demeanor, that's what makes you so fascinating. In fact, studies in behavioral science show that unpredictability and emotional restraint in men often trigger more intrigue and emotional investment from women. Why? Because we're drawn to what we can't easily explain. The human brain craves resolution, and when it doesn't get it, like in your case, it becomes obsessed. You are the man who carries himself like a question with no easy answer. You're not auditioning for her attention, which ironically grabs it more than any pickup line ever could. Your silence speaks louder than most men's speeches, and your aura doesn't beg for approval. It challenges her to look deeper. That's why she looks away when you catch her staring. It's not rejection, it's respect. It's her subconscious saying, this man is different. I need to tread carefully. Because you're not just a man, you're a presence, a Sigma male, and mystery, my friend, is magnetic. Number 2, she tries to test your silence, then gets intimidated by it. Women are used to certain patterns in male behavior, especially when it comes to silence. Most men feel compelled to fill every pause in a conversation, whether through awkward jokes, self-promotion, or excessive questions. This isn't necessarily a flaw, it's often a subconscious attempt to win approval, impress, or keep the interaction flowing. But when a woman encounters a Sigma male, the script flips. He doesn't feel the urge to entertain or over-explain. He doesn't scramble to fill the silence. Instead, he lets it linger, calmly, comfortably, and powerfully. And that's silence. It speaks louder than any words. A Sigma male's silence isn't empty, it's charged. It carries presence. While others rush to perform, the Sigma leans into stillness, creating an invisible field of mystery. Women pick up on that instantly. They're not just noticing the silence, they're it. It's a rare form of composure that unsettles and intrigues at the same time. The silence becomes a mirror reflecting back their own thoughts and emotions. They might poke at him with teasing or sarcastic remarks, trying to break through that calm exterior. They may even test his patience just to see if he'll crack. But when he doesn't flinch, when he meets their probing with a quiet, unreadable stare, that's when curiosity kicks in. In psychology, this effect ties closely to what's called non-verbal dominance. Research shows that people who remain calm and quiet in high-stress or uncertain social settings often command more respect and intrigue. In men, this trait is especially rare and attractive because it signals high emotional control and self-assurance. It tells a woman that alone sets him apart. So when a Sigma male holds silence like a weapon, it doesn't create distance, it creates depth. A woman starts to wonder, the silence forces her to lean in rather than pull away. It breaks predictable patterns, it challenges her without saying a word. And in that space of quiet intensity, attraction is born, not from performance but from presence. That's the Sigma edge. He doesn't beg for attention, he attracts it. His silence doesn't reflect emptiness, it reflects control. It doesn't mean he has nothing to say, it means he only speaks when it matters. That contrast is magnetic, and in a noisy world, his silence roars. Number 3, she starts to mirror your behavior, subconsciously. One of the weirdest and most telling things a woman will do when she's truly drawn to a Sigma male is subtly start adopting his habits. At first, it might seem like a coincidence. She starts listening more attentively, becomes noticeably quieter in loud environments, or suddenly develops a new interest in reading self-help books or philosophy, topics you've been into for years. You might even catch her mimicking your posture, crossing her arms the way you do, or leaning in at the same angle during conversations. It's not just flattering, it's fascinating. Why does this happen? Psychologists call it mirroring, a behavior rooted in subconscious admiration and social bonding. When someone deeply respects or feels attracted to another person, they naturally begin to imitate them as a way of creating rapport. It's the brain's way of saying, I like you and I want to connect with you. This isn't manipulation or trickery, it's a built-in feature of human social psychology. Studies in behavioral science have shown that mirroring increases the sense of connection between people and even boosts empathy and trust. But here's where it gets interesting. This doesn't happen just with anyone. It happens specifically when someone sees you as high value, unpredictable, and worth observing. And that's what the Sigma male represents. You're not chasing trends or approval, you operate by your own internal compass. And that quiet confidence creates a gravitational pull. Unlike alphas, who command attention through dominance, or betas, who seek approval through compliance, Sigmas draw people in by being unaffected, mysterious, and self-contained. You don't try to fit into the world slowly starts to fit itself around you. So when a woman starts mirroring your calm, your curiosity, or even your quietude, it's not an accident. It's a reflection of your psychological presence, your vibe, your essence, reshaping the environment around you. This phenomenon isn't just romantic, it's a form of unspoken influence, and that's what makes it so powerful. The Sigma effect isn't about control, it's about being so authentically yourself that others can't help but take notice and shift themselves just to stay in your orbit. That's when you know your energy is speaking louder than words ever could. Number 4, she overshares to break your mystery. Here's a wild one. She starts opening up about everything, her past, her fears, her goals, even her toxic exes, just to see if you'll crack and share something back. On the surface, it might look like vulnerability or a bonding moment, but peel back the layers, and it's actually a psychological tactic rooted in something known as. This is a social phenomenon where when someone shares something personal, our brains are wired to feel an urge to reciprocate. It's human nature. When someone takes down their walls, we feel obligated to take down ours too. But here's where it gets interesting. Sigma males are wired differently. They don't play emotional poker just because someone tosses a few chips on the table. This move, her rapid oversharing, is often strategic, sometimes even subconscious. It's like emotional bait. She's probing to see if there's a crack in the armor, a window she can peek through. And if you do start revealing things, it tells her how easily she can access your inner world, which for many people, especially women who are intrigued by mystery, is the ultimate prize. But what she doesn't realize is, this tactic doesn't work on Sigmas. You don't operate on impulse or social pressure. You operate on instinct, clarity, and calculated choice. See, a Sigma male doesn't just give away his emotional bandwidth like it's on clearance. He's not cold, he's precise. He understands that vulnerability is a powerful currency, not something to throw around casually. This is what confuses women the most. They're used to men who either overshare in hopes of gaining affection or those who clam up entirely. But the Sigma, he's the rare breed who listens, understands, even empathizes, but doesn't spill unless there's a reason. It's not emotional stinginess, it's self-mastery. And that self-mastery becomes irresistible. Why? Because people, especially women, are naturally drawn to what they can't easily define or conquer. So when she shares and you don't immediately reciprocate, it's not rejection, it's intrigue, it's a mystery, it's power. She might push harder, try new angles, and open up even more just to hear a single detail from your world. But you keep your cards close, because being Sigma isn't about being unavailable. It's about being intentional. You choose when, where, and with whom to share your story. Not because someone's curious, but because someone's earned it, and that's what keeps them coming back for more. Number 5, she becomes competitive with you or your attention. This one's sneaky. And if you're not paying attention, it can fly right under your radar. She won't come out and say she's interested in you. No, she'll take the indirect route. Suddenly, she's highlighting her achievements in conversations. She's independent, successful, well-traveled, and maybe even a bit mysterious herself. She'll casually mention that she doesn't need anyone to complete her. But here's the twist. She's not just stating facts, she's performing. She's subtly positioning herself as a high-value woman because she sees you as a high-value man, a Sigma male who doesn't flinch at her beauty or bend over backwards for her attention. You see, most women are used to being chased. They know the script. Smile, flirt, and the guy comes running. But when you don't follow the script, when you maintain your calm detachment and refuse to play the validation game, it throws her off. She doesn't know how to respond to a man who doesn't immediately show interest, who doesn't fall for the usual tactics. So what does she do? She adapts. She starts competing, not with you, but with the other women around you. She wants to prove she's the top contender, even if you haven't started the race. Psychologists often refer to this as mate value calibration. It's the subconscious effort to align herself with what she perceives to be your standards. When a Sigma male walks into the room, he carries an energy of self-sufficiency and inner power. That's magnetic, but also intimidating. She senses that you're not easily impressed, so she raises the bar. It's not about dominating you. It's about regaining a sense of control in an unfamiliar dynamic where she's not holding all the cards. It becomes a game of psychological chess. Her competitive edge isn't necessarily hostile. It's more like an audition. Except you're not the one watching. She is. She's trying to understand why she suddenly cares about your approval. She's wondering why she's thinking about you when you haven't even made a move. That confusion creates tension, and that tension becomes a kind of emotional gravity. So the next time a woman starts humble bragging about her success or mysteriously begins hanging out where she knows other women might be near you, know this. It's not arrogance, it's strategy. She's trying to solve the Sigma puzzle. Not because she wants to win you over in the traditional sense, but because deep down, your indifference has awakened something far more primal, her desire to your attention. Number 6, she tries to label you, but nothing fits. You're kind of mysterious. You're not like other guys. What are you exactly? These aren't just flirtatious one-liners, they're the honest echoes of a woman's curiosity when she meets a Sigma male. In a world obsessed with labeling men into categories like alpha, beta, the joker, the nice guy, or the heartbreaker. The Sigma male is the one who slips through the cracks, defying the expected social script. That's what makes him so compelling and so confusing. Women have been socially conditioned to read behavior patterns. Alphas lead with dominance, betas follow with loyalty, and the rest tend to fall somewhere along the predictable spectrum. But a Sigma male? He plays his own game, often walking solo, but with the confidence of a man who knows exactly where he's going. What fascinates women most is the paradox Sigma men embody. You don't seek approval, yet people admire you. You don't chase attention, yet you naturally draw it. You're reserved, yet you hold intense presence. It's this contrast that triggers curiosity on a deep psychological level. In fact, according to psychological theories like the Zeigarnik effect, people tend to remember incomplete or unresolved stimuli more than complete ones. When a woman can't figure you out, you essentially become a mental itch, an unfinished story in her head. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Your independence isn't an act, it's a lifestyle. You move through the world with quiet assurance, not trying to prove your worth to anyone. You're introspective, selective with your energy, and immune to social pressure. This detachment is not apathy, it's mastery. It signals self-control, which evolutionary psychology links with higher status and desirability. Women pick up on this instinctively. They may not understand it consciously, but emotionally, they know they're dealing with someone different, someone who challenges the norm. So when they say, "What are you exactly?" well, they're not looking for a textbook answer. They're reacting to the rare phenomenon of encountering a man who doesn't beg for validation, doesn't over-explain himself, and doesn't need a label to feel whole. That's the Sigma effect in action. Mysterious, yes. Misunderstood, often. Magnetic, always. Number 7. She gets unusually vulnerable, and it scares her. This might be the most powerful reaction of all. When a woman feels truly safe around a Sigma male, it's not because he says the right things or performs some charming act. It's something deeper, more primal. Sigmas have a rare kind of presence, calm, grounded, and quietly confident. They're not trying to impress anyone. They don't dominate conversations or chase validation. And that very absence of ego is what makes them magnetic. For many women, this is an entirely different experience from the usual masculine energy they encounter. With Sigmas, there's no need to perform, pretend, or protect themselves. That non-judgmental aura creates a space where they can simply, and that's intoxicating. Psychologically speaking, this comfort is tied to something called emotional safety. When a woman feels emotionally safe, her nervous system relaxes. She doesn't feel the need to defend herself or hold back. That's when something almost magical happens. She begins to open up, not in a rehearsed, surface-level way, but in a raw, authentic one. She might find herself sharing childhood memories, past traumas, or secret dreams she's never dared to voice aloud. And it often catches even her off guard. What's powerful is that the Sigma male didn't ask for this. He didn't pry or push. She volunteered this vulnerability of her own free will, drawn by his steady, silent energy. That's not just a sign of interest, it's a mark of trust, which runs far deeper than attraction alone, and yet that trust can spook her. Once she realizes how exposed she's become, how quickly she let her guard down, she may recoil. It's not about you, it's about her suddenly recognizing the depth of the moment. That moment of emotional nakedness can feel both thrilling and terrifying. This dynamic highlights one of the Sigma male's most underrated traits, his ability to invite openness without effort. In a world full of noise, the Sigma's silence speaks volumes. His calm becomes a sanctuary, and in that sanctuary, even the most guarded hearts feel seen, held, and safe. That's the kind of impact that lingers long after the conversation ends. So Sigmas, what do all these strange behaviors really reveal? They reveal something powerful. You're not just seen, you're not the guy shouting for attention in the room. You're the one people can't stop watching, even in your silence. While others crave likes, followers, or applause, you move with a sense of purpose that doesn't demand recognition, but always earns respect. This isn't just about mystery for mystery's sake. Psychologically, humans are wired to be intrigued by what they can't easily define. When women encounter a man who isn't seeking approval, who's comfortable in his own skin and doesn't flinch at solitude, it triggers curiosity and sometimes even obsession. The real power of the Sigma lies not in dominance but in energy. Your mere presence disrupts the predictable. You don't chase, yet you're always ahead. You don't react, yet you're always in control. And that changes people, especially women who are used to men who try too hard. So keep moving in silence, not to hide, but to lead. Be the unsolved puzzle, not the open book. Because results speak louder than revenge, growth outshines attention, and silence, when it comes from confidence, echoes louder than any speech. Stay sharp, stay grounded, stay Sigma.